All right, joined now by Kevin McNamara. It's becoming a routine here on these summer Sunday nights. Thanks so much for joining us, Kevin. All right, that was an impressive win for the Celtics in Game 1. We've seen enough basketball over the years to know that you never take what happens in Game 1 and run with it, especially last year when the Celtics won Game 1 against Milwaukee and then got swept the rest of the way. But were you encouraged by their play today? Because they've owned the Raptors this season.
They really have, and to see that carry over into the playoffs was really impressive. To be honest with you, I was not impressed with Toronto at all. Their shot selection in the first quarter was just horrific, and that led to an awful lot of chances for the Celtics. But I'll tell you, if Boston shoots the ball from the three-point line, I think they had 17 threes, they're going to be very difficult to beat, not only in this series, but throughout the playoffs.
So after seeing this game, do you still expect this to be a longer series, or do you think based on 5 games of material at this point, this could be one-sided based on the matchup?
Yeah, no, I don't really go back and give any credence to wins, back in, December and January. It's so long ago. I will say that I give the Celtic coaching staff an awful lot of credit. They had some time off, almost a full week, and they clearly were ready for the Raptors. And they did an excellent job isolating matchups in their favor, especially on the wings, with Jaylen Brown and Tatum are a load for Toronto to handle right now.
All right, I want to switch gears to the Patriots. Believe it or not, 2 weeks away from the regular season, because we haven't seen any preseason games, there is this feeling of uncertainty, not only around the Pats, but every team. You sort of don't know what you're going to get. What is your gut feeling 2 weeks out about how this Pats team will do this year?
I think it's a good thing they play Miami. Miami can be difficult, but, they have a really young quarterback in Tua. And, it's kind of like college,
Right.
In the big college, they might have a few scrimmages, but the fans never see them. And then all of a sudden, they have to play big time game. And the first game of the season, pretty much the same way for the Patriots. But boy, talk about a different team. Obviously no Tom Brady. Probably Cam Newton at quarterback. So many key guys missing, around the periphery. It's I kind of like it. In all honesty, I was never a huge fan of preseason football, especially 4 games. But to go to 0, it's certainly unique.
All right, so by all accounts, it looks like Cam Newton will be the quarterback week 1. You've said that's what you wanted this whole time. Why else bring him in here? He spoke the other day. His teammates are singing his praises. Are you buying into the Cam Newton experience 2 weeks out?
I am. And I think I'm really excited to see what Josh McDaniels does with someone like Cam Newton. Obviously, he's such a prodigious runner, can be a dangerous runner. I hope they utilize that skill. Josh McDaniels hasn't had to utilize that for a quarterback in New England for 20 years. I'm also very interested to see how Cam throws the ball and who he's throwing it to. Still kind of a 0 at tight end.
Right.
Unless you buy into the 2 rookies, it's tough for me to do that right now. And then the receivers, we'll see.
All right, Kevin, as for the Red Sox, trading deadline is Monday at 4. We saw they dealt Mitch Moreland. Do you see Chaim Bloom really getting out of a lot of veteran contracts and going young, or do you think this is the last move, the Moreland move?
Well, I understand Mitch Moreland, a veteran player, clearly not part of, the future of the Red Sox. I do think that there's a market out there for Jackie Bradley Jr., elite defensive player. If you need a center fielder, you can't do anything better. His contract's not, obviously, will be a free agent at the end of the year. But Chaim Bloom is really on the dock here, because when you bring in a 20-year-old and a 21-year-old who no one knows, you say, okay, they're good prospects. Well, that's a hit or miss game. I can tell you that. The teams have been dumping contracts for minor leaguers for years, and it does not always work out. So who knows? I guess you trust in Chaim Bloom and see what his scouts can come up with.
And the good news for Red Sox fans is only 1 more month of this, and then their season mercifully ends. All right, I want to finish with this. 2-parter quick on the Bruins. Do you see them extending their season tomorrow night? And 2, if they don't win another cup, is it sort of like the 08 Celtics group, that big 3, where this group of Bergeron and Marchand and Krejci underachieved with only 1 cup in this era?
Well, question 1, they're not winning 3 in a row against Tampa, so whether they can win more, or not really doesn't make a difference. I think not having home ice is a big deal in a series like that when you get down 3-1. And yes, there's no question. You know, Boston had a golden opportunity to win a cup last year, Game 7 at home. They went by the boards. This year is just so bizarre, you know, finishing the season the way that the NHL has chosen to do so. Does this group have one more year together? I'll tell you, the guy who, to me, is just a shell of himself is Zdeno Chara. This
Right.
could be it for him. And obviously with Tuukka Rask not around, you know, Don Sweeney's going to have some work to do in the offseason.
Yeah, absolutely. Zdeno Chara, 43 years old, and we'll see what happens with Tuukka Rask.
Right.
All right, Kevin McNamara, thanks so much covering all the bases on this Sunday night. I appreciate it, and we'll talk again soon.
Great. Thanks, Yianni.